Hello, people. I had a very nice walk around town with the dogs today in Beacon, and I still noticed that a lot of people, they congratulate me. The dogs look very nice, but there's still a few people that give me that evil eye because they see that I have pinch collars on the dogs. So this is going to be a little bit about pinch collars, especially with the ban going on in Canada. Pinch collars. They're one of the greatest tools that you can use in walking a dog. But you cannot take a pinch collar on a dog, or you can't take a pinch collar, put it on a dog, and expect it, poof, to automatically work magic. No. Everything you do, everything you introduce to the dog, it has to be taught how to use it. Just like the people that use pinch collars, most of them do not know how to use them themselves. So how can you expect the dog to know how to use a pinch collar? How can you expect a dog to know how to turn the pressure off when he feels that so-called pinch? So if you don't do this, if you don't teach the dog how to operate a pinch collar, the dog will just learn how to pull you with a pinch collar on. So going with that notion, I've seen many people, they slip the pinch collar over the dog's head, they walk down Main Street, and they're being pulled like there's no tomorrow. So what does that really tell you about if it's hurting the dog or not? It's not hurting the dog because they will get used to you, just being there as a lead weight. You're only making the dog learn to resist you. So the pinch collar, they're put on, and for some dogs, I put a pinch collar on. I may not leave the driveway for 5-10 minutes until they get the idea of how to turn off that pressure. So if you look at these dogs walking here, it's not me pulling, yanking, doing anything. All it takes me is a little pump with my fingers on a leash, and that's enough for them to understand, oh, he's saying something to me. So again, e-collars, pinch collars, they're one of the best tools out there if you know how to use them properly. So again, look at the leashes on these dogs. They are nice and loose. The only time they should feel tension on that pinch collar, on that leash, is when I want them to pay attention to me or when I want to give them some kind of information. Other than that, I want to be walking and not being pulled. So this whole thing is about pinch collars because I got a couple of little stink eyes today on a walk. But I'd like to see that person bring their dog out and see what their dog is going to do. So again, we're walking up and down Main Street. I'm not being pulled. They're not being pulled. Everyone is just respecting the pecking order. And this is what you want in a dog walk. So a lot of people, they're having trouble, with their dogs, and they're going out and they're buying harness, they're buying halties, they're buying all kinds of fancy gits and gadgets when all they need to do is teach the dog how to walk. What happens when you don't have your haltie? What happens when you don't have your harness? What do you do then? When I talk about harnesses, what people hear me talk about harnesses, imagine sitting on a horse and you're trying to steer that horse sitting on the saddle and you have no reins to turn the horse's head. How do you learn that horse what to do? How do you teach it how to turn? How do you teach it how to stop? These are things that have to be taught to the dog. You just can't put a leash on a dog and put a pinch collar on it and jerk it and it's supposed to work magic. It doesn't work like that. So like I said, pinch collars are one of the safest tools out there if used correctly. Everything can be abused. So I'm going to show you a few pictures here, even what the damage a flat collar can do on a dog. A horse. Here's a harness. So all of these tools, they're great tools, but they can be abused. All of these can be abused if you don't know what you're doing or you're just an abusive person. So, even with the pinch collar, there's a correct way to put them on and a correct way, they should be, worn. So any dog that has one low down by the collar, by the shoulder, is incorrect. The pinch collar is meant to be right behind the ears where it's most effective. So you can see by these pictures, all of the red X's way too low or way too loose. The correct ones are up above. Now here you'll see a carabiner in that one, because sometimes, the pinch collars do come off at some of the worst times. And that's just a safety precaution. But back to the pinch collar, in general, one of the greatest tools out there. And people are hollering about them, and look at what they're still selling.